Whether he's the manager or the head coach, it's been a bumpy old 14 months in charge, and it was no different yesterday after his side had picked up a point at Leeds. Let's hear what Amorim had to say.
I want to say that I'm going to be the manager of this team, not just the coach. And I was really clear on that. And that is going to finish in 18 months. And then everyone is going to move on. That was the deal. That is my job, not to be a coach. If people cannot handle the Gary Nevilles and the criticisms of everything, we need to change the club. No, guys, I just want to say that I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach. And every department, the scouting department, the sport director needs to do their job. I will do mine for 18 months and then we move on.
Let's get the thoughts of the Manchester United correspondent at The Sun, Samuel Luckhurst. Morning, Samuel.
Morning, Samuel.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no, absolute pleasure, mate. Look, Ruben Amorim, it was clearly pre-planned, wasn't it? What was his intention, do you think?
Well, it's a power play, this, or it's a bit like an Enzo Maresca, where you know that you want it to end and it's going to end soon. It feels very difficult to see him coming back from this, mainly because he just doesn't have the credit in the bank. I think it's something like 24 wins from 63 games. I mean, you look at United's position in the league and it's pretty respectable. And with the best part of the second half of the season to go, there's a Champions League place there for the taking. But he clearly feels as though things aren't the way they should be. It is rather bizarre, nearly 14 months into a tenure, to all of a sudden have a problem being referred to as the head coach. That was how he was introduced by United when they appointed him back in November 2024. Now he says he wants to be the manager. That, again, it's a power play. He's clearly not happy with Jason Wilcox, the director of football. I think there was a barb lobbed at Christopher Vivell, who's the director of recruitment as well. And these guys as well, they've not got a great deal of credit in the bank. I mean, Wilcox was billed as having the best eyes in football by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but you look at some of the signings United made, and certainly who they were targeting up front, Liam Delap, and ending up with Benjamin Sesko. That's not worked out well so far. Vivell came in on a temporary basis originally 18 months ago. Has worked at some a big club in Chelsea and impressive club in RB Leipzig. But you look at Amorim and you compare him to Jose Mourinho, who obviously kicked off unsurprisingly midway through his second season at United. Mourinho had credit in the bank because he'd won 2 trophies in his first season, and he had a CV that was largely unrivaled. Amorim is nowhere near that point, and he did touch upon that yesterday, mentioning Mourinho, saying, "I'm not Mourinho, I'm not Conte, I'm not Tuchel." But even Manchester United fans, they don't chant his name very often these days. They did last season. They were much more supportive, I would say, of Amorim last season. It really does feel as though it's got to the point where perhaps for all parties, a clean break is the best way forward.
It looks like he's not going to walk away, but he must have known when he signed for Manchester United, you're going to be head coach. You're not going to be manager. We're going to have other people. And he said, yes, I'll sign that dotted line. I want to be head coach. So someone's moving the goalposts here, whether it's Manchester United behind the scenes or is it Amorim. And that doesn't work, does it? And it looks like he don't want to walk away, but he said 18 months left. It's up to Manchester United now. So he's more or less looking, well, sack me.
Yeah, indeed. And clearly the bugbear for him this month is signings or lack of signings. I mean, he was in a very downbeat mood on Friday, and then yesterday the press conference was going along pretty well, very innocuous. It was due to centre on his defence of Benjamin Sesko. And then right at the end, again, to a question that allowed him to diffuse that whole situation. Instead, he took the pin out of a grenade and lobbed it and caused carnage again. So clearly, as I said, in regards to transfers, United have got their own targets or their own recommendations. He's got his own recommendations. This has happened before at other clubs. It's happened before at United. I mean, Ed Woodward, that authority on football, had the brass net to defy Jose Mourinho and say, no, your centre-back recommendations aren't good enough for Manchester United. What happened was that United ended up having their worst defensive season in 40 years and sacked Mourinho halfway through it. So these power struggles have gone on before at United. They clearly wanted Antoine Semenyo this month. The money is there for signings, but Amorim touched upon this on Boxing Day and it flew under the radar a little bit. He spoke about needing to find common ground quite often with Wilcox. And clearly at the moment, there is not a lot of common ground between the two of them.
But one thing is absolutely plain, though, Samuel. And look, they've got a lot of injuries at the moment. Of course, the African Cup of Nations is going on, but they have to recruit. Look at the bench yesterday: Malacia, Fredrickson, Kokonki, Xerxes, Jack Fletcher, Tyler Fletcher, Lacey, Mantato. This is Manchester United, so they simply have to recruit. People surely, rather than looking at Amorim, should be looking at those above him. Should be looking at those who are responsible for recruitment.
It's a valid point, especially where there's a Champions League place there for the taking. I'm sure the hierarchy's view would be, well, when you did have these players and when you do have these players available, the form is erratic. The team struggled to win successive games, which is ridiculous. They've only won 3 games on the spin once this season. They've won 3 games of their last 11, which you'd ordinarily say that's borderline relegation form, but somehow United were 5th in the table temporarily yesterday. With Semenyo, he's clearly a winger. You look at that Manchester United squad, the place to strengthen is in midfield. Now, if you want to go and get a top draw midfielder this month, you are paying through the nose. You'll be paying enough in the summer as it is. But those players, those quality players, they're just not attainable. And I suspect Amorim wants to compromise and bring in someone who could be more of a short-term fix. You go back to the winter transfer window last year, Patrick Dorger and Aidan Heaven, they were club-led signings. They were not Ruben Amorim signings, or they were signings that Amorim was just okay. But you look at Mateus Cunha, who's a player that Amorim put his arm around in the Old Trafford tunnel after he'd helped Wolves beat United. That's a player that clearly Amorim fully endorsed United going for. Brian Mbeumo the same, given that he came up against him when Brentford beat United last season. But United are starting to look at targets who Amorim just doesn't fancy, and Amorim has his own targets who United clearly don't feel as though that they should be going for this month. And Joshua Xerxes is an interesting case. I mean, he did very well when he came on yesterday, but the way Amorim has been treating him recently, he's been practically trying to manage him out of the club. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you get an upgrade in. But I think from United's perspective, they probably want to preserve the status quo and preserve this squad for the remainder of the season, get the players back from AFCON, and then get that Champions League place or European place. The trouble is, as you say, the squad is depleted at the moment and they're not winning that many games. And looking at the AFCON results yesterday, it's still going to be a while before they get Mbeumo back and Nusa Mazraoui back.
Samuel, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
They're only 3 points behind Liverpool.
Yeah. There's still got so much to play for. Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I think Man United fans are very realistic. If they can somehow get in, and it's a weird season, isn't it? I mean, Liverpool dropping points.
They've got every chance.
Every
chance at the moment. But you understand the manager's discontent if the powers that be there are talking about bringing in players that he doesn't want, not his players.
I'm a little bit with him in that scenario because he's got to work with them every day. He's got to know exactly what he needs, sort of personalities and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, you've got to have a good relationship. Yeah. If you're with the director of football as a manager, you've got to have a good relationship.
You do.
And help each other.
Yeah,
I mean, it don't look like they've got that.
Sam's just texted and said they need someone like Scott McTominay in the middle of the park.
Yeah,
fair point, mate.
Definitely.